Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 102 of your favourite Formula 1 show. We're back once again, the second time this week with a more knowing wheel. Yes, we survived the winter. It's race week. It's Friday. Bahrain practice, by the time this video goes live, has probably already started. Of course, I'm joined by the fastest go-karter in the north of the UK. It's Jamie183. How are we doing, mate?
Is that so? I mean, maybe.
You'd like to claim
I'll take it. It probably is true, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm here. I've recently had a victory, maybe 2 weeks ago now, at go-karting. Me and Matt have never actually raced, but I think I'd beat him.
It's because you're like 5'6", though.
5'9".
Oh, it's basically 5'6".
Yes. We should actually arrange a race.
We will. Well, KnowingWheel is going to go go-karting at some point. Let us know where we should go down in the comments below. But of course, as always, if you're new around here, make sure you check out the links down in the description. We upload this on Spotify, we upload this on Apple Podcasts, we even upload it on YouTube if you want to see our faces that this morning are looking very, very tired, it must be said. But Jamie, Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend, then we've got a few different things to go through, haven't we? Of course, a little bit of news coming hot off the press recently. Of course, I'm sure, as always is the case, we recorded this show quite early on Thursday morning, so there will be some crazy news that will happen before Friday afternoon. So I'm going to go out on a limb and try and guess that it's been confirmed that Lance Stroll won't be competing this weekend.
Yeah, I reckon that's true. So we're recording pre-media day. So Stroll will probably miss. I'm going to say someone will probably get cancelled for saying something against the FIA's political stance, and therefore will get in loads of trouble. But mostly from Twitter, they will get cancelled in that sense. So yeah, we shall see. But it's going to be a big day of F1 media. And F1 weekend generally, very excited.
Yes, I must admit, it is really, the winter, like we said, has been far too long. Of course, we mentioned in Tuesday's episode about obviously Lance Stroll potentially not competing this weekend. Like we said, it's probably quite a big risk, but we're still hyping up Aston Martin. Of course, like I said, I've always been a big not been Lance Stroll, sorry, a big Fernando Alonso fan.
That's too much of a stretch.
Even for me, I can't lie that much. I've always been a big Fernando Alonso fan. You guys know me, the resident Alonso supporter on the channel. But I'm intrigued to see, Jamie, of course, depending on where Aston Martin are, how well do we think Drugovich will do? Because there's a small part of me that really wants to say that he'll be closer to Alonso in qualifying than Stroll will be in like the first 7 qualifying sessions.
It wouldn't surprise me. You kind of see quite often when people step in last minute, the pressure's off, so they've almost got nothing to lose. So I think he wouldn't beat Alonso in qualifying.
No.
I think it's safe to say. But I would back him for a non-Q1 exit.
Okay.
Which, for a driver in the midfield on his debut, is quite impressive.
That would be very good going by Felipe Drugovich there. I mean, I think he deserves a shot. He obviously dominated Formula 2 last year. We spoke obviously a lot about that last year, of course, in a very, very weird dominant campaign of just kind of everyone else had things that went wrong and Drugovich was always there or thereabouts. We did want to do a quick mention, of course, of F2 as we look in towards 2023. Now, we did discuss about trying to do, a show each week, things like that. A little sort of 15-minute segment around Formula 2, but sadly, Jamie is not going to be watching it properly this year. He's got this...
I'll try and watch it as much as possible.
He's got this thing called work. I haven't really heard of it anymore.
Yeah.
But Jamie...
What's this thing called a job? I don't know.
Jamie, tell me, first of all, who your champion of Formula 2 this year is going to be, and second, who is going to be the highest ranking rookie?
I actually want to start with the highest rookie because I don't want to be boring with champion. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to be the boring option or not. But for highest rookie, I'm also not going to be boring, and I will actually say Zane Maloney.
That is quite a boring option, to be honest, Jamie, because that was one of my 2 that I was going to say.
Well, I was him or Hadjar, and I thought Maloney would probably win out.
Oh, well, that wasn't my other one, to be fair.
Yeah, so he's my rookie of the year, highest placed rookie. Champion, I don't want to just say, what's his face, Teo Porcher, but You know what? I won't. I will instead say.
Are we saying choo choo?
Fred
Oh,
Vesti.
okay. Fred Vesti.
Fred Vesti. Indeed, he took a massive step forward throughout last year's campaign. So now he's at Prema. He could kick on.
He could. Whether he will or not is a different question.
Yeah, it's a really weird year F2. There's a lot of good drivers, but no one like Leclerc, Russell kind of level. So I feel like it'll be quite open.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, there is literally Leclerc in Formula 2 this year, but I don't think either of us rate him particularly highly. I think, honestly, this year is probably going to be quite telling for him. You know, was one of the oldest drivers in F3, you know, once Jake Hughes finally binned it off. But Arthur Leclerc, I think, is going to be interesting with Dams this year, of course, alongside Ayumu Iwasa. Obviously, he's a rookie. Iwasa obviously isn't. But, I mean, there's a few other rookies sort of kicking around. Like, you know, like you mentioned, obviously, Zane Maloney, he's one to really watch this year as well. Oliver Behrman, I'll go on a limb and say he is actually my pick to finish best of the rookies. Partly because I think, you know, he's a fantastic driver. Partly because he's commented on some of my TikToks before. And partly because he's with Prema as well. And, of course, they are still an incredibly strong team. Looking down the rest of the order, though, you know, there's a few other ones. You know, Isaac Hadjar as well. I still remember watching the Italian GP F3 race. You know, he was gutted when he bottled that qualifying run that really did basically end his championship hopes. But there aren't a lot of other rookies sort of kicking around, are there? Of course, we mentioned Leclerc. Brad Benavides, I'm pretty certain as well, has never raced in Formula 2.
He hasn't.
Roman Stanek, I don't think has either.
No.
But of course...
No. There's a lot of, like, you kind of see every year, the top 8 or so, at least 6 or 7 of them from F3 do come up. But you kind of want to focus on the top few, so that's why we think Maloney, Behrman, Hadjar will be the ones to watch.
Yeah,
really.
And obviously Jack Crawford as well, who I just missed out there. I think, you know, he is a big talent to watch out for as well in the future. You know, I think we've spoken before, haven't we, about, you know, Alpha Tauri, of course, you know, whether we're going to see Yuki Tsunoda potentially being ousted at the end of this year. So I think, you know, Formula 2 this year is going to be very, very exciting to watch, even if it's just for seeing which of the Red Bull Juniors does quite well. But I'm going to say Ollie Behrman as my Rookie of the Year, and I am going to potentially go with a boring option, and I'm going to say Teo Pourchaire finally is going to get the break he needs, and he's going to walk away with that crown. And I completely get that you don't want to say that because you're worried he's going to replace Joe.
I think it's in Joe's hands already. So if Joe has a capable season again, he probably won't lose that seat.
You reckon? Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think we see very often F2 champions take a year out. There's no reason why Porsche couldn't do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Of course, we just mentioned Alpha Tauri. I'm going to try and do a slick cutaway back to Formula 1 there, Jamie. This week, of course, it's been confirmed that the team is not looking to be sold. So probably between now and this podcast going live, Alpha Tauri will be renamed to McDonald's Andretti Formula 1 team or something.
Yeah, maybe back to Minardi.
You just want to see Stoddart back, don't you? You've got like such a desire for Stoddart.
His interview before US 2005.
Or during US 2005, yeah.
During, on the formation lap. I think F1 teams, or any big corporations really, only address rumours and dismiss rumours when there's some truth behind them.
When someone's already in the process of paying.
Yeah. I do kind of think there's no smoke without fire, and it wouldn't surprise me if there is a sale of Alpha Tauri in the next year or so, certainly.
I'm not convinced it would be that soon, unless Andretti are really knocking on the door.
Yeah. It would be a shame, I think, for them, but they've had a good run.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
I guess they're still here.
Because, you know, we've always spoken, whenever we talk about Alpha Tauri, and we sound like a broken record at this point, but we always say they're a bizarre team because obviously they're not designed to win. But, that being said, it has often been a team that has created a lot of excitement in the sport solely for the fact they can take risks with their drivers.
Yeah, and they've bought us some of the best drivers of their generation.
Oh, near enough half the grid have driven for Alpha Tauri or Toro Rosso at some point.
Well, the likes of like Verstappen, obviously, Sebastian Vettel. You've got Scott Speed in there as well. So
interesting three to combine.
Yeah, I think they are a team where the pressure is really high and you kind of sink or swim, and that's why you get the likes of Verstappen, Sainz, Vettel. all of the, I can't remember, Gasly, if you want to be generous, put him in that group. Yeah, they're quite an interesting team. It's weird seeing a team basically run as an academy in the full-time pinnacle of sport.
Yeah.
So,
but I think, there's still these rumours, isn't there? Of course, I guess it just complicates things with the Ford deal. Because personally, if I had to choose still, I'd be thinking that Honda would be eyeing them up. But of course, if Ford have already said, they're probably going to be working with AlphaTauri, but then again, things can change very, very quickly.
That can all change.
In Formula
That was
One.
just a press release, really.
Yeah,
wasn't
I think my still gut instinct is if AlphaTauri does go, it's going to kind of become like a half Honda team.
Yeah,
again.
I think that as well.
But we'll wait and see about that. I think the other problem, of course, is if they go back to Honda, then there's a very real possibility that we could then lose the team in the future.
Yeah, because Honda really have a hot and cold relationship with Formula
They
1.
have such an on-off love affair. It is utterly bizarre. But shall we look then, Jamie? Do we fancy doing? Have we got any other F1 news, or do you want to jump in with your quiz this week?
Oh, I thought you meant I was hosting the quiz, and I definitely
No, I've got a quiz ready to go.
Yeah, let's go into that.
Okay, Jamie. So,
okay,
for those of you that
it's too early for this, I haven't had a coffee
for those
yet.
of you that watched throughout the winter, of course, I actually did a Bahrain GP quiz for Jamie about 3-4 weeks ago, and I asked him every winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix. This one is going to be slightly tougher for you, good sir. So, from 2022 running backwards, I want you to tell me every pole sitter of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Oh, that's a bit more difficult.
It is. It is.
So 2022 Leclerc, 2021.
Sorry. So quickly as well. Of course, once you get one wrong, it's over. Yep.
Yeah.
So those two are correct.
22 Leclerc, 21 Verstappen, 20 Lewis Hamilton. I was thinking, was it the fake layout? But no, it was the real layout. 19 Leclerc.
Correct.
18. Oh, that's tough. It was one of the Mercedes or it was Vettel. I think it was Vettel. He had 3 in a row at the start of the year, didn't he? 17 was Bottas, his debut pole for Mercedes. 16 Hamilton, then he threw away the start.
Correct.
15 also Hamilton.
Correct.
14 Hamilton.
Oh, I'm sorry, my friend.
Was it not?
It was Nico Rosberg. However,
Really?
Jamie,
I was quite confident
I
about
will
that.
give you a chance to buy yourself back into this game.
Okay.
All you've got to do is tell me which 2 pole sitters of the Bahrain Grand Prix and which year it was did not finish on the podium. Only ever happened twice has the pole sitter in Bahrain not walked away with a trophy.
Oh, I was going to say the Toyota then, but he did finish on the podium in 2009. So 2010. Do you want the year?
And the driver.
That's happened.
And the driver.
2010, Vettel was on pole and had a some sort of failure and finished 4th. Ooh, what would the other one be? Oh, 2012 was really weird, but I don't think it was that. Oh, it was probably 2013 because the Mercedes couldn't do tyre wear. Which Mercedes would it have been though? I will say it was Rosberg.
Correct.
2013.
Smashed it. Right, so you've already got 2013 correct then as well. So let's keep going backwards then, Jamie. You brought yourself back into this game.
2012 was Seb, Vettel. 11 didn't happen. 10 I've said it was Vettel. 09 Trulli. This is where it gets difficult. 08 probably a Ferrari. I would go Massa.
Incorrect, I'm afraid.
Oh, it was right, wasn't it? Oh, it was
Nope.
Hamilton. No, what? Oh, Robert
Yes.
Kubica. What a clown. I should have got that. That's annoying.
Disappointing, Jamie, but I was very impressed that you got yourself back into the game, to be fair.
Yeah.
That was good going, though. Obviously, you got all the way back to 2009, so 13 years of correct predictions.
I'll take it. My Bahrain knowledge is going to be way more trained than the rest of the great races after these 2 quizzes in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah. But, I mean, speaking, though, Jamie, of pole positions and podiums and winners of the Bahrain Grand Prix, Are we bringing it back? 2023?
Oh, absolutely.
Our own mini predictions.
You're going to get rinsed.
I'm going to get
again.
rinsed again. Yep. So of course, I think are we keeping the stakes the same?
Yeah.
Loser has to put a tweet out from the winner. Of course, for those of you that don't know how this works, every single race weekend when we do a pre-show, what we do is we guess pole position and our podium. Now, if you get it bang on, you get 2 points. If you get the driver on the podium, but you get them in the wrong place, you get 1 point. So, of course, 6 points available, 8 points available on most weekends, 10 available on a sprint weekend. There's a very real possibility that someone could walk away this season, Jamie, with well over 100 points. Well over 200 points even, sorry.
Well, I think I averaged about 4 or 5.
Yes, you were a big nerd last year and you got incredibly lucky. I get it, I understand. Pole position,
Indeed.
top 3, Bahrain Grand Prix, give them to me.
I kind of want you to go. No, I'm going first. Okay. Max Verstappen will get pole position. Okay. There might be a theme throughout the 23 races this year.
I can start to see how you beat me last year.
Race winner will be Max Verstappen. The second place driver. I'm going to be so boring. Will be Sergio Perez. And third place will be.
Come on, Jamie, say it. Say Fernando Alonso. Do it.
I really want to say Fernando. I'll say Charles.
Ah, you're so boring.
I'm so boring.
So boring.
It was a toss-up then between Leclerc or Alonso, to be honest.
So boring. Right, so apparently then I've got to keep this interesting, just like last year.
Nah, try and win.
Jamie didn't get the memo.
Stay in there at the start.
But if I try and win, I just guess the same as you for the first 20 races of the year and then go all out in the final 3. You know what? I'm going to change it up though, Jamie. Charles Leclerc pole.
Interesting.
Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc.
Fernando.
No.
Go for it.
No. I can't believe. Am I really going to do this?
Fernando.
No.
Felipe Drugovich.
No. Hamilton third.
Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it once just to kick off the year. I may as well have a bit of hopium coming in.
Well, to be fair, he did get a podium here last year
exactly.
with a car that was
He
rubbish.
did, exactly. So. I don't know why, but I'm expecting something to happen between Sainz and Perez. That's kind of...
I just think Sainz to be rubbish.
That's
why I didn't even consider him.
Fair enough. Jamie, it's a start of a new Formula 1 season. And that means one very, very exciting thing. F1 Fantasy is back, people! Now, I've hyped this up. I wanted to get thousands of you in, and so far we're only at 400 teams, so get yourself on F1 Fantasy.
I actually haven't.
Not even Jamie has joined the league yet. That's just how bad things are going early on.
Alright, I'm in.
You're in. Brilliant. We're up to 424 teams. Come on, people. Get yourself involved. F1 Fantasy is back once again. I know a lot of people got bored of it last year, but still, we want to believe.
They've added lots of new rules.
They have added loads of new meals and rules. It's going to be incredible in 2023. Now, Jamie, to be honest, we have kind of already half gone through our teams before this weekend, but who has made it to the 183 roster? Actually, is that what your team's called?
It's called Taking the Piastre.
Fair enough.
So that is my team name. I thought long and hard about that. So we have the Turbo... Sorry, not the Turbo. What's it called now? The DRS Open driver.
Let's just call it Turbo still, please.
Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Because for some weird reason they've changed the rules so you can
turbo anyone you like, even though it made last year way more exciting the fact you couldn't turbo one of the big six. Or you could, but it was Perez or Sainz.
So, yeah, I've got Max Verstappen in the roster with the turbo on him. Next to him, Fernando Alonso on a crusade for the third championship. We then have Sergio Perez. We have Sergio Perez alongside him with Valtteri Bottas to make up the numbers because he's obviously going to finish top 6 because it's Bahrain and it's Alfa Romeo, and Pierre Gasly in my 5th place. So that's kind of a bit. My thought process was pick the best driver to captain, which is my thought process for FPL as well. Pick Fernando Alonso because he's going to be ridiculous.
Is that also your plan in FPL? Pick Alonso?
Yeah, sure. Pick Valtteri Bottas because he's also a ridiculous value. And then the teams, I just picked one good one, which is Ferrari, and one really good value one, which is Aston Martin. And then I kind of had 2 spaces to fill with Perez and Gasly. So I went for a good midfield option in Gasly and someone who's going to finish second every week in Sergio Perez.
Fair enough.
There we go.
I mean, we've kept this quite boring, to be honest, because my team is almost identical to Jamie's, as we've discussed prior. I've also got Verstappen, I've also got Perez, I've also got Gasly, and I've also got Alonso, as well as Aston Martin. However,
I thought Bottas would be the obvious one to go for.
I've mixed it up slightly, because Jamie183, I have put Red Bull in my team.
I wished I could have.
Well, I put Red Bull in with Nico Hülkenberg.
Very good. I like that. Also, caveat, he's not in my team because he's not on the grid anymore. But my team is incredibly subject to change. I am a sweat. I will absolutely change it after free practice.
Jamie will. And then he'll make sure to text me 2 minutes into qualifying
2 minutes after
going, did you change your fantasy? And then I get annoyed every single week.
It's just textbook. It's absolute fantasy heritage.
It's just annoying is what it is, to be completely honest. I've got 3 teams though, Jamie. I mean, I'll quickly, obviously, we only really focus on the big one. But I have come up with a couple of other teams that I think will be quite interesting to follow throughout this year. I have got my risky team of Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, Gasly, Aston Martin, and Williams. And then
that doesn't sound that risky.
It's fairly risky, of course, because I'm hoping Aston Martin and Williams. Heavy with the drivers. I've basically, well, actually, what I've got there is my podium from Bahrain. So perhaps I'll just keep changing that each week. With who I think is going to scroll the podium. And then my other team, I think I've tried to do it quite seriously, because I've got Red Bull, Aston Martin, Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso, Hülkenberg, and Zhou Guanyu. So that's basically the Jamie183 fan club down there on my 3rd team.
Yeah, I like that.
Good. I do hope so. That'll be my Jamie183
what tribute. Have you thought of an interesting team?
No, I haven't. I can't think of interesting team names, so I've got Matt212 Team 1, Matt212 Team 2, and Matt212 Team 3, because I'm excited. It is pretty damn shocking, I won't lie. Is there anything else to go through, though, Jamie? We've kind of smashed through it, haven't we, Bahrain preview?
We have.
We've done very, very well.
I'm not sure in what capacity I'll be able to watch qualifying / the race yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it may be a podcast where I'm like, I didn't actually watch this, but on Monday or on Tuesday, sorry, I should be able to listen to some of it. So there you go.
Fair enough. That's always reassuring then. So we've got a podcast where only half the people know what they're talking about.
I will absolutely watch it back as much as I can.
Good. Well, I think there we go then. We've wrapped it up nice and tidy. Of course, these little Friday preview shows are meant to be shorter episodes, just to quench your KnowingWheel thirst, if you will. But thank you all so much for listening as always. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourselves subscribed, of course, follow us on all our various social media as well. We're going to try and be a lot more active with it over the course of this year. But Jamie, as always, it's been a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll speak to you after Free Practice 3 when you text me about F1 Fantasy. But yeah, we will be back on Tuesday with more KnowingWheel to discuss how Felipe Drugovich won his first ever Grand Prix.